In my continuing efforts to show the various cases available for your classic cartridge video games, I've reached out to another purveyor of custom game cases, this time Stone Age Gamer. You may know them for the wide array of gaming items they sell, from various flash cartridges all the way down to replacement parts for home consoles. Well, they also sell some game display and protection options. I reached out to them for these samples so that I can show you what they have on offer. As before, this is neither paid coverage nor a critical review. This is simply a chance to share another custom case option to viewers like you so you can make better informed decisions. Let's find out what they've sent. Firstly, they sent a small selection of box, case, and cartridge protectors. They ship flat but are easy to assemble and use. If you have boxed games on your shelf, it's a really good idea to protect them from the elements. Stone Age Gamer offers a variety of protectors for different items across many console generations. These are a very inexpensive way to protect your valuable items, and they are aesthetically pleasing too. It's really the best of both worlds. But if you prefer custom cases for your games, they have a product for that too. This is Stone Age Gamer's BitBox. This case is made in the USA and is built to be both versatile and cost-effective. All of the cases I'll show today were sent with a printed cover. Stone Age Gamer offers this as a convenience, but they don't do their own printing on site. This means that including a cover is an upcharge and will slightly delay the shipping of your order. To save money, you can decide to print your own. They have free downloads available for any cover they offer, sized right for their BitBox. But know that you'll need quality US legal-sized or A3 paper. These covers are larger than even A4 paper. These BitBoxes are created via vacuum forming and are reminiscent of classic media cases like cassette collections, books on tape, or VHS tape clamshells, famously Disney Home Video. When I made my own custom case for GBA games, I mentioned vacuum forming as a build option. This is similar to what I had in mind. The first one I'm showing is for NES games. The game pack slides right into the shaped impression. Even without clips, there's a good friction fit, ensuring the cart doesn't drop out. There's room for the game manual as well. You can store it on top of the cartridge, or even secure it better behind it. Or for a small additional charge, you can request these document straps. These are essentially a stiff pouch, but without a bottom to tuck your manual into. They are peel and stick to the inside of the case. Some NES games have a larger manual. These fit the case just fine, but I wouldn't try to squeeze these few larger manuals into the manual strap. Other cartridge designs, like Tengen, Color Dreams, and Wisdom Tree, are reported to fit fine, though I only have a Tengen cartridge to test. Next, let's take a look at SNES. I like the clever way this case is designed to hold either a Super Nintendo or a Super Famicom cartridge, though I don't have any of those games to show. Unfortunately, these won't work with the dust sleeves. That has to come off. Another secure fit. Same story as before with the manual. It works fine without it, but the manual straps are available if you want them. Moving forward, I'm not going to mention the manual straps, just know that you can request them for any case I'll show. One last test for this case will be the Super Game Boy, and as I expected, this won't fit without modification. I like to look for unadvertised uses for cases like these, and look what I discovered. Atari Jaguar cartridges fit in here pretty well. That's a pretty good bonus use for these boxes, but for any of these bonuses, you'll have to design and print your own covers. Moving on to Nintendo 64. Remember my mini game boxes? Here's a tutorial so you can learn how to make your own. As expected, a perfectly shaped space to hold your N64 cart and manual. Plus there's the bonus space underneath to hold a controller pack. It's oversized to even house the larger third-party packs. There's actually just enough room to hold my pack with its protective case, but only barely. As for bonus uses, these can hold in television carts pretty well, although it's a loose fit, so be careful so you don't drop your games. And controller overlays can go into the optional manual strap or behind the cartridge. I also found that Vectrex games fit this slot pretty well. Let's leave Nintendo systems and switch to Sega. This is their Sega Genesis case. This case won't fit in perfectly with your official Genesis cases and boxes, but it'll fit in better than a bare cartridge, so let's check it out. A good solid fit for standard Genesis games. A similarly good fit for Master System games. And 32X? Yes, all thanks to the clever multi-cartridge design of these cases. EA cartridges and Accolade cartridges are not a problem either. But there are always limits, and it seems the Virtual Racing cartridge just won't work without modifying. Same for the Sonic & Knuckles lock-on cartridge. Let's set those aside for now. For bonus uses, it seems that Atari 2600, 7800, and ColecoVision games can work in here. Although not all of them. And Famicom games are similar in size to Genesis games, so they should work in here too, but I don't own any to test. If you need a storage case for Virtual Racing and Sonic & Knuckles, don't give up hope. It turns out that the NES BitBox is a good choice for a lot of different kinds of cartridges, including these. It's a loose fit, so use caution, and the outer case dimensions match the Genesis case, so it's a good choice. I also found that Atari 5200 games work in these boxes. The manual is a bit oversized, but there's always another way. You could drop this into the out sleeve, in front of, behind, or as the cover art. Now that's thinking outside the BitBox. And the outer sleeve is sealed at the bottom, so you wouldn't have to worry about your manual dropping out. Last up is one of my favorite things to talk about, Game Boy and other handheld games. This is Stone Age Gamer's BitBox for Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. My Game Boy games have these labeled inserts. Check out the card to learn more about them. But for these boxes, you can't use the original case. Game Boy, and of course Game Boy Color fit perfectly. As do Game Boy Advance. Plenty of space for the manual as well. The document pouch for this case is a bit smaller than the others, and it's closed on the bottom. You'll want to mount it near the bottom of the case. It's funny, I have a personal future project that will use a pouch similar to this. When it's done, I'll come back and leave a card for it. A few games have an oversized manual. They fit the case, but again, I would forego the pouch in these few instances. As you would expect, Rumble cartridges won't work. Both Yoshi Topsy Turvy and Boktai fit perfectly though. Drill Dozer is shaped just different enough that it needs to be rotated to fit, and then only loosely. WarioWare Twisted is just too large. Bonuses include Neo Geo Pocket. These games fit well, even including their original protective case. Gamecom games can fit loosely. This is another instance of the manual barely fitting inside of the case, but can be easily stowed in the out sleeve. Atari Lynx games are another good match. And lastly, the Watara Supervision. These games fit as well. As for Game Gear games, they won't work in this case. Stone Age Gamer makes a BitBox specifically for Game Gear or TurboGrafx-16 games, but it's the only box they didn't send a sample of. So that box should also work for those games and Sega card games, and potentially WonderSwan games too. Now that we've seen what these cases are all about, let me tell you, in my estimation, their strengths and weaknesses. I really like these cases, more than I expected to. They seem a lot sturdier than other thermoformed cases I've mentioned, much more robust than I expected, and I was pleased to find so many alternative uses. I mentioned that they are cost effective. Stone Age Gamer is able to offer these at a lower price than some other custom cases, specifically when buying in larger quantities, and you can save more by skipping the add-ons. But shipping costs are the great equalizer, so be sure to budget for that part of the expense. For drawbacks, they are sturdy and should hold up well to typical use, but some vacuum-formed cases don't stand up to aging or can crack or splinter with overly rough handling. These seem to be made of a bit thicker plastic than others, so this might not be a problem. For an adult-owned and cared-for collection, I really wouldn't expect these issues to manifest. What do you think of these cases? I'd like to thank you for watching this far, and Stone Age Gamer for the samples. If you want to know more, I have links to them in the description. If you have any questions about these cases and what else they might hold, please ask. I always try to respond to these kinds of inquiries. I love video games and my channel reflects that, so subscribe if you liked what you saw. Thank you again and take care.